Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, fellow dregs to society. Welcome, all you rock dwellers. We got a couple of new ones here, thanks to Elizabeth Warren and Beto O'Rourke. Welcome, all you hateful people who celebrate the president. And welcome, it's all you Trump voters who are racist. New from Elizabeth Warren and Beto O'Rourke, but welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. And joining me today as my co-host is the doctor for the Republic, Dr. Right, Dr. Nasir Shaikh. Nasir, welcome to Conservative Commandos.
Thanks, Rick. Just another racist here talking on the radio.
That's right. And you know, I do this every show. I start out with patriots, deplorables, dregs of society, rock dwellers. And, you know, the Democrats are the gifts that keep on giving. Elizabeth Warren called us now hateful people, all you hateful people, she says, who celebrate the president. And Beto O'Rourke, it's really hard not to view Trump voters as racist. I mean, I say these things, Nasir, because I want our audience to know what we are up against. I want our audience to know the mindset of the left, how they are the haters, they are the racists, they are the despicable ones. They are the rock dwellers. They are the ones that are trying to separate America. They are the ones that are trying to drive down America. They are the ones who don't want to make America great again.
You know, Rick, it's so true. But you know what? Still, it is still another absolutely great day to be alive and well and free and living in the United States of America, the greatest country in the history of the world. You have a symbol behind you. I've got a symbol behind myself, and it's around my neck. And no matter what, we fight the good fight each and every single day. And we have to do what we've been saying all along, what a lot of conservatives, not you, but I think you've been battling it, but there have been a lot of conservatives and a lot of Republicans who, as soon as they hear the R word attached to them, they basically put their head in the sand and they cower and they back away from it and try to devolve away from the discussion and try to, move it on or say, we're sorry, we're trying to be better. Whereas Trump has basically fought it and doubled down and said, someone calls you a racist, you call them a racist immediately. It's like if they project onto you, you've got to fight back. It's the only way that we can do it, Rick. It is the only way.
Well,
otherwise, if we take it sitting down, you get labeled with it.
You're right, Nasir, and I do believe the left does these and says these nasty things because they want us to kowtow. They want us to shrivel up and go away, and I refuse to do so. I absolutely refuse to do so. And some time ago, maybe about a year ago, no, I think it was around Christmas time, I went into a Walmart. And I was in line, and there was a lady ahead of me who was buying candy bars, Heath bars. Now, apparently, this candy bar is very popular in England. And she bought a bunch of them, and I said, wow, you must really like that candy bar. And she said she did, and how popular it is in England. And, whoa, she would rather be living in England right now. And I said to her, and how horrible Trump was making our country. And I says, I don't know. There's no place on earth that I would rather be. And I appreciate the fact that our economy is doing so well. I appreciate the fact that there are so many Americans working now, that our unemployment rate is so low. And I was so grateful that we finally had a president who wanted to put America first. And you know what? She shut up. She absolutely shut up because she couldn't come back at me. But we have to stand up for ourselves, Nasir. We have to stand up for our country, and we have to stand up for our president. even if it costs us something. Like the man who was beaten up in Manhattan a couple of weekends ago for wearing a Make America Great Again hat. These people, they want us to go away. They want us to shrivel up. They want to control us just like Hitler controlled his population, just like Mao controlled his population, Stalin, Saddam Hussein. We can't let that happen in America.
No, you're absolutely correct. We've got to fight fire with fire. We've got to let them know that no matter what, we're going to stand up for our principles, what we believe in. We're going to wear what we're going to wear. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about. We're going to shout about what we want to shout about. And you know what? Let's have that in the public domain. That's why we're talking about, even with many of our guests, we talk about that there are leftists and then there are liberals out there. I believe that you can at least have a discussion. You may not agree with liberals. You can have the discussion with them at least. Leftists, on the other hand, those are the people, the thugs, the people that are, basically enjoying themselves with like Antifa and these other groups that are like Black Lives Matter and those kind of groups out there. You can't talk with them. You can't discuss with them. You can't reason with them. You've basically got to, if they bring it on to you, you've got to bring it on to them. I mean, that's the only way it's going to be, whether it's discussion. And unfortunately, sometimes it, right now, like you said, the violence that's being perpetrated in the name of being diverse. Mm-hmm. It's really sick out there, and we've got to be careful. We really do have to be careful. We have to watch our fronts. We've got to watch our backs.
Diversity in everything except for speech.
Or thought, speech.
Thought or speech are right now, sir. They want to make us think the way they do, which I believe is twisted. I believe is mental. I think that liberalism is a mental disease. I used to think that was just a funny saying, liberalism is a mental disease. But the more I see, the more I hear, the more I agree that it is a mental disease.
You're right. I mean, we laughingly talk about labeling people with TDS, Trump derangement syndrome.
Right.
But there is something that deranges these people, that causes them to, we'll probably be talking about this whole thing with, look at what, Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo. Somebody just out there calls him a nickname or something like this.
Calls
not
him
even
Fredo.
Calls him Fredo from the Godfather movie.
And the guy
goes absolutely ballistic. But you know what? There's videotape of him from 2010 in a CNN interview where somebody was talking to him on the air, and the person made a reference to him basically saying that, you know what? You're the younger brother of the governor, and you better be careful, Andrew, sometime, because he might take you out in the middle of the lake, and next thing you're gone, we're going to be asking, where's Chris? Where's Chris? And they laughed about it. And he himself said, I'm the Fredo of the family. Wow. So I think what this was his way of basically showing everybody that he's a man.
Yeah.
That, he was ready to fight and do whatever he could. Because this is, again, the hypocrisy that these guys show.
They're bullies.
Every single
They're
time.
Absolutely bullies.
Absolutely
they are.
Bullies.
Antifa, bullies. KKK, bullies. And, I'll bring up KKK because the KKK was started by the Democrat Party after the Civil War, and it was used to oppress blacks. It was used to oppress black voting. So now we have Antifa, which is now the new military arm of the Democrat Party. They want to shut us up. They want to shut us down. I've got this list. I printed it out some time ago. 583 acts of media-approved violence and harassment against Trump supporters. 583 acts. I'm sure it's well over 1,000 now. Well over 1,000. But where is the list of all the acts of harassment against liberals? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. More proof of they want to shut us down. They're going to do everything to shut us down. And there's a reason why I say that, and now I want to talk about this, Nasir. America is still the dream for the entire world, and if you do not believe that, just ask the citizens of Hong Kong.
Absolutely. I mean, what flag were they waving? We talk about it. They weren't kneeling in front of that flag. What song were they singing? God bless America. the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, these are the things. It was the American flag that was waving proudly from those citizens in the face of, I mean, we take it for granted. You know, you and I were talking on this show.
We do indeed.
We can say what we want. 99% of the time we can go outside. We're not going to be harassed. We're not going to be talked down to, you know, unless we're starting But, I mean, we can proudly wear our stuff without most of the time being faced. Maybe they're, you know who they're not afraid of? They're not afraid of other citizens of Hong Kong that are going to come after them. They're afraid of the Chinese police. And
the Chinese army, the Chinese military is massing at the border right now.
Absolutely.
I remember, what was it, 1985, Tiananmen Square, that massacre. And what were those people doing? They were peacefully marching, peacefully protesting, putting flowers in the barrels of the guns of the men who eventually killed them. And at that time, I could not understand how a people could fire on their own people. Hopefully, we don't see anything like that happening in Hong Kong.
No, hopefully we don't. And remember that picture that was ingrained, I don't know if it was in Time magazine, that picture of that young Chinese man standing in front of that column of tanks or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to think to yourself and say, would you have had the guts to do that if that had occurred here in America?
I don't know. I don't know if I would have the guts to do that or not. I'd like to think I would.
I'd like to think I would, but it's just...
Hey, Nasir, we've got 3 great guests joining us, and we have to take a little break right now. But after the break, I'd like you to tell our audience who our guests are and what our topics of conversation will be. But you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Dr. Wright, the doctor for the Republic, Dr. Nasir Shaikh. And just as a reminder, today's show, like all our shows, is being brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Think about it. They go together. Don't go away. Nasir and I will be right back with our guests.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The secret war is yours, free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Wright, the doctor for the Republic, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. Check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Nasir, we've got three very interesting guests joining us today.
We do. Our first guest is going to be Geoff Dickens, who's the Deputy Research Director for the Media Research Center. He's going to be talking about his article about Can't Stop, Won't Stop, Unhinged MSNBCers Keep Comparing Trump to Hitler. Second guest is a Mr. Seton Motley, who is the president of Less Government, which is exactly that, dedicated to less government. And Seton is going to be talking to us about his article, The Left is Either Confused or Projecting or Both. Okay, it's probably both.
Probably is.
It's probably both. And finally, we have Tracy Beanz. That's Beanz with a Z. She's an investigative journalist. Don't see those two words put together too often
Not
these
anymore.
days. But she's an absolutely wonderful investigative journalist who places a strong focus on politics, and she's writing for Undercover DC. And she's been basically with the Epstein story, the Geoffrey Epstein story from the very beginning, and is going to be giving us, the twist and I guess the twists and stories behind what happened from the beginning to what's up there up until now. So once again, three great guests.
All right. And that's the hallmark of the Conservative
Absolutely.
Commandos radio show. Great guest. And if you have someone who you'd like us to interview, or maybe you would like to be interviewed here on Conservative Commandos, send an email to me. Rick at conservativecommandosradioshow.com. Rick at conservativecommandosradioshow.com. I know it's long, but it's easy. Rick at conservativecommandosradioshow.com. Well, Nasir, let's talk about the Democrats in regard to gun control. We've had a couple of unfortunate mass shootings again. I say these people that commit things like that, they're leftists. They're the devil worshippers. They're the video game players. They're the people with mental illness. It's not law-abiding Second Amendment followers, people who have guns for their own protection or for sport.
No, you're absolutely correct. And whenever these tragedies occur, the first people to politicize them for political gain are the people, again, on the left, the Democrats. They use it for fundraising. I mean, what these people did in the aftermath of both these shootings, where they basically couched their groveling to the people, their constituencies, were saying, well, send some money to these PACs for this organization to try to, do some things on gun control. And while you're at it, don't forget to send me some money as well. I mean, that was just sickening, absolutely sickening. But the thing because we have so many laws on the books already. And every time we do the same thing over and over and over and over again. We make a reflex, law that comes out, or we have to do something immediately, and it never addresses the real problem. And just like they were talking about, if anybody knew how to solve this, it would have been solved. And we look to government. We look to Washington, D.C. Well, you know what government is? Government is people just like you and me that were voted in to go to some place and enact laws to protect us. And they've done that.
Yep.
But the thing that happens is, Rick, you tell me, any law that was out there, any law that we can pass, is not going to stop somebody who is incapable. Now, yes, I agree with some things that, obviously somebody's been mentally insane, somebody's been mentally unstable, and there's a documented history of that. Yes, that person shouldn't have a gun. I think that's just reasonable. But these red flag laws that are coming up right now, do you know Cuomo, for example? I bet you what? You know Cuomo? With his outlandish burst, don't you think somebody could have somebody could say, you know what?
He threatened to beat a man up. He threatened to push a man downstairs.
That guy could bring a red flag.
Right,
that person could bring a red flag law against Andrew Cuomo. Is that what you want?
Well,
in the heat of, we can't get angry at people. There has to be some context.
Now, so these red flag laws, there's going to be so much abuse.
Oh,
it's going to be a neighbor that gets angry at another neighbor. It's going to be a husband and wife that are going through a divorce. It's going to be a girlfriend who gets mad, or a boyfriend who gets mad at the girlfriend.
He said, she said.
It is. It's going to be somebody out there who's listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show who thinks those guys are nuts. They should be off the air. They should not be allowed to own guns. And I'm serious about that. And the other thing about these red flag laws, somebody makes an accusation against you. They go to the police and says this man is a danger, this woman is a danger. The police automatically have to invoke these red flag laws. They come and confiscate your property. In many of these red flag laws, that property will be held for 14 days before you can have a hearing, and there's no guarantee you're ever going to get your property back after those 14 days. So it is so flawed. Gun-free zones, how has that worked? How has gun-free zone laws worked? My gosh, in every mass shooting there has taken place, it has taken place in a gun-free zone. Many of our major cities have gun laws and gun restrictions. How's that working for Chicago? How's that working for Philadelphia? How's that working for Detroit? Most gun-related crime, there's not a gun violence problem out there. There's a criminal violence problem out there, Nasir. These people will commit crimes if they didn't have guns, and in most cases, they're going to be the guys with the guns. We are going to be the guys without the guns to protect our homes, our families.
And what people don't realize, Rick, is that this is how the Democrats and how leftists win the argument.
Yep.
They don't take it a mile at a time. They take it an inch at a time. It's sort of like the thing that they did with cigarettes. You know what? Oh, right now, we don't want you smoking, but we're going to have a room in the building. You can smoke there. Okay, you give up the right now. You smoke in the building. Then after they go, you know what? You can't smoke in the building right now. We want you to smoke outside within a designated distance from where we're at. Okay, now you lost your right slowly and slowly. Now you're smoking outside the building. And then what happens is, in every case, attribute it to whatever you want. They say, you know what? You can't be smoking outside the building anymore. You got to go a mile away. And it's just slowly, incrementally, and that's what's happening with the gun debate. You give them an inch, they're going to worm their way in, it's going to set precedent, and then the next step, what happens the next time, the next time, the next time?
Well, Nasir, I enjoy going into a restaurant not smelling smoke. I hate the smell of smoke. But you know another thing, Nasir? I say to people, you want to smoke, do it in your own home.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying don't smoke. I'm saying do it in your own home. You know, liberals don't like meat, so they don't want to eat meat. They don't want you to eat meat. I say, if you don't want to eat meat, don't eat meat. All right, it's that simple.
I need my Whopper.
Plain and simple. These liberals say, well, I want to generate my electric from wind and solar. Go ahead, generate your electric from wind or solar. I want it as cheaply as possible. That's gas, oil, coal, or nuclear. Oh no, but they want to stop us. They want to stop us from doing anything that they don't want. Anything that they don't want part of. I don't like smoke. I don't want to smoke. I've never smoked. I don't want to be around anyone that smoked. But if you want to smoke, do it in your own home. And that's the difference between liberals and conservatives.
Absolutely.
Liberals don't like something, they don't want anybody to do it. Conservatives don't like something, they won't do it. They don't want anyone to do it around them. But we do need to take a break, get our first guest on. And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Nasir Shaikh and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be speaking with Geoffrey Dickens. He's the Deputy Research Director at the Media Research Center. These guys do great work. He's done a report, Can't Stop, Won't Stop, Unhinged MSNBCers Keep Comparing Trump to Hitler. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our first guest.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And welcome back. Welcome back once again to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Nasir Shaikh, Dr. Wright, the Doctor for the Republic, and yours truly, Rick Trader. For rebroadcasts of our shows, you can always check out our website, CCRShow.com. That's CCRShow.com. We have podcasts of our radio show there and our television show. And with that, Nasir, our first guest of the day is with us, and the honor of the introduction is yours.
Thank you, Rick. We have Geoff Dickens, who is the Deputy Research Director at the Media Research Center. He currently writes for all of their publications and their outlets, including MRC.org, Newsbusters, Notable Quotables. He's contributed to numerous projects with Media Watch and Magazine Watch, authored many different types of reports, Outgun Special Report that examined the media's bias against gun rights. He's also made numerous appearances on talk show radios around America. So, Geoff, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, great. Well, we want to talk to you about your article that you wrote, Can't Stop, Won't Stop, Unhinged, and I know you'd like to call them MSNBCers. I also think that sometimes I call them MSLSD and also MSDNC, but you keep how they keep comparing, Trump to Hitler. So before we get started, how about telling our listening and viewing audience a little bit about what Media Research Center is doing for the conservative movement?
Well, we like to consider ourselves the leading organization for identifying, exposing, and fighting liberal bias in the media, whether it's your cable news outlets like MSNBC that you just referred to, CNN, and of course your big broadcast networks, news outlets like CBS, ABC, NBC, and of course your print outlets, Washington Post, New York Times, and also we also looked at the PBS, NPR, and increasingly more and more online and internet outlets and podcasts. There's a lot of liberal bias and a lot of different outlets out there, and we're just doing our level best here 24/7 to expose, identify, and combat it.
Hey, Geoff, thanks for pointing out all the enemies that we have here.
Yeah.
Quite a list.
Well, you go through a litany here, Geoff, of, every single time what they do is, not only do they play a race card like we all know, but they play the Hitler card. They play the anti-Semite card. I mean, any card in the deck, except the Trump card. I mean, they go ahead and they play it. And you basically give us some stunning examples from, Joe Scarborough to what I call, Donnie Deutsch. Give us some examples of how they literally go on the air, compare President Trump to Hitler, and nobody challenges them on their own stations.
There's so many stunning parallels to what Hitler was doing in the early 30s. Once again, I'm not saying Trump is going to slaughter 6 million Jews and own it. No more, he's good for the economy. No more, well, they're all jerks. He just says these things. We are heading to such a dangerous place. And guess what? You look at history, it can happen here. Maybe it's the Jews next. Oh, I forgot. His daughter's married to a Jew.
And obviously and importantly, Omar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds.
That's a president, actually, from his Nuremberg rally from last night.
Today, President Trump amplified his language on race from a dog whistle to a bugle call, driving home his inflammatory and racist attacks on 4 Democratic congresswomen of color.
There is no data to support the idea that Donald Trump was elected because of economic anxiety. What really elected him was racialized anxiety, so that if your economic situation isn't as good as your parents, you blame it on Mexicans.
No, it's really quite remarkable. I had to start with, if your listeners go to newsbusters.org, you'll see it right there in the article. Donnie Deutsch, this was on July 27th on his MSNBC show. He has his own show. He was a long-time pundit, but now MSNBC gave him, he was so crazy, they're like, we have to give him his own show. Anyway, yeah. Not enough space for him to just be on like a 5-minute segment. We got to give him his own entire hour.
But you can't be normal anymore for these shows. You've got to be abnormal.
No, you're right. So he's talking about Trump. This is on July 27th, and he says, I'll just read the headline. Here's the actual quote. I'm not saying Trump is going to slaughter 6 million Jews, but and he goes on to like rationalize how. Yeah. So.
Well, you go on with his thing, and he goes on. He says that he talks about the slaughter of the 6 million Jews. Then he goes on to non-existent national emergencies, and then he goes on at the final thing. He says, and this is Donnie douchebag Deutsch. He goes, he has the Justice Department in his pocket. What I'd like to ask him is, what the hell has been going on for the last 3 years? If he had the Justice Department in his pocket, why didn't they end it 3 years ago? The fake Russia collusion story.
Yeah, I know it's absurd. But then again, this is somebody that says the president of the United States is going to start lining people up like there's going to be and on July 7th, back on July 17th. I mean, again, they kept doing this. I was looking at it. I was like, what? How is no one calling them on this? This is worse than playing the race card. This is saying he's going to start exterminating people. So here's another thing. Donnie Deutsch on MSNBC's Deadline White House. He says, we are headed to such a dangerous place. You look at history. It can happen here. Maybe it's the Jews next.
Oh, wow.
I come from a group of people where it happened to 6 million of them. It's just sickening.
I mean, you go on to say that, where you talk about Trump has Hitler tendencies. So this is one of the talking points that the what I call the alt-left media, the Democratic State Party-controlled media uses. Another MSLSD host, Joy Reid. Now, she has her own skeletons in her closet. Remember when they found some tweets, not too long ago, some homophobic tweets? She gets away with it. She got away with it because of her color. She's black.
Yeah, well, I think she said that she was hacked or something,
right.
and she still has her own show.
Well,
and
you're right. She is a hack.
Yeah, well, and then she says, this was, of course, after Deutsch again mentioned many tendencies like Hitler in reference to Trump, and saying and Joy Reid says he wants to be president for life, and Joy Reid also said, quote, he's taken the Republican Party of the United States and turned them into the National Party of South Africa from 1948 until 1990, essentially saying that he wants to bring back apartheid. So we've got the Holocaust, we've got apartheid. I don't know where else they can go now. I mean, this is the worst comparisons possible.
You're absolutely right, and this is stunning again. I don't know if anything stuns us anymore. It's like normal, the abnormality that goes on. But these are the same people that were hoping and sort of trying to pray that, is there any way that President Obama could stick around for a third term or perhaps even longer? Remember when they were talking about that? Is there any way to get around the 25th Amendment? I mean, come on. I mean, it's just absolutely, it's frightening what these people are able to get away with. But noting that their dwindling audience, continues to fall, they're on that core group of people that want to have that. I think they just need that daily dose of what we call, Trump derangement syndrome. They need that inoculation, every single day. Those are the only people that are listening to these guys or watching them, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know how you can watch this. I mean, we do it because we have to. It's our job. I don't know anybody else in the country can watch it.
And then you also talked about where Joe Scarborough mentioned that if he's not Hitler, so guess what? If it's not Hitler, he's definitely David Duke. And that's Joe Scarborough.
Right,
This is the same David Duke that, didn't he endorse one of the candidates on the Democratic side now?
I think he did. He's, and of course, Trump's denounced.
Ilhan Omar. I think he.
Yeah.
Ilhan Omar.
But yeah, that's that. Yeah, so I went through all these comparisons to Hitler, and then it's like, well, if he's not Hitler, then he's definitely David Duke. That was Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe, July 15th. This is about a political party now, referencing the Republicans, that has embraced the racial ideology of David Duke. Joe Scarborough says, finally, good luck with that in the years to come. Then Chris Matthews compares him to Woodrow Wilson, who famously was a racist and showed Birth of a Nation in the White House. Then Joy Reid again and Nicole Wallace said he's Archie Bunker without a heart. And Joy Reid again also said Trump will hurt, quote, brown people for his basis entertainment. I guess she's referring to what's going on, the border security situation there. But it's like, what it's like they're playing a game of trying to top each other over at MSNBC. Like, who can come up with the worst comparison? Again, Satan, is that? Oh wait, I think they already did that. Jeez.
No, I believe you're right. I think they try to one-up each other. I think that's what happens on Twitter as well. And here's another one. This is right after July 4th, our nation's holiday, where President Trump came out, made that beautiful speech, had that wonderful parade. Remember all those tanks they were talking about that were going to be going up and down, and the missiles we were going to be showing? I mean, I don't recall that happening. But this is going, again, beyond the pale, where you have host Joy Reid, and I want you to comment on this, where she basically says, quote, that Donald Trump is saying that I'll make you the center of my attention, meaning white people, the white nationalists. You're the center of my attention. I don't give a damn about the brown people. I will hurt them for you. I will let you watch them get hurt. I will do a Roman Colosseum for you and put little brown kids and abuelas in it so that you can see. I mean, how do these people get away with this crap?
I really think any other sort of maybe 20 years ago, this is the kind of things that you would have been at least suspended for, maybe even fired. But anything goes now in the Trump era with the media. I don't. It's again. I don't think you can get any lower than Hitler and Holocaust comparisons. I don't know how they get away with it. It can't be that good for ratings. I mean, I know there's an anti-Trump left out there that wants to believe the absolute worst about our president, but they're not that big of a number. At some point, you're going to have to recognize that this is not a good business strategy, let alone moral or objective.
Here on the Conservative Commandos radio show, our guest this segment is Geoff Dickens. He's the Deputy Research Director at the Media Research Center, and we're discussing Can't Stop, Won't Stop, the Unhinged MSNBCers. Keep comparing Trump to Hitler. Hey, Geoff, we have to take a quick break. Could you hold on for just a few moments for us, please, while we do a little business?
Sure.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Dr. Wright, the doctor for the Republic, and that's Dr. Nasir Shaikh. And our guest, as I mentioned, is Geoff Dickens from the Media Research Center. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this break.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And once again, as always, I want to thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I do want to give a shout out to the folks who listen to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Long Beach, California, and now in Arlington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. Also seen on the AUN television network in Northern California. Our 7 stations up there include stations in San Francisco, San Jose, Sacramento, and Reddick. Our guest this segment is Geoff Dickens. He's a Deputy Research Director at the Media Research Center. These guys at the Media Research Center do a lot of great work. They also watch a lot of television, but they've put together quite a collage or montage of the MSNBCers calling Donald Trump or comparing Donald Trump to Hitler or worse. Hey, Geoff, thanks for holding through that break. We really do appreciate your time.
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, we love having you guys from MRC and also what you do. So this name calling of Trump, and it's been going on since even before he took office. Do you think it's having an effect?
Oh, I don't know. It's because on the one hand, you could. I've sort of compared it to the what's going on with the coverage of the tragedies of the shootings, where it's like on the one hand, maybe it sort of gets the base of the left excited and motivated, but then when it starts to become just really too aggressive and too obnoxious, then it starts where the people, Trump supporters and conservatives go like, well, wait a minute, you guys are going too far, and it gets them motivated. So it's almost sort of the further they go, the more they get the other side motivated, because they just think, well, now you guys are just going way too far. And that's what it reminds me of. I mean, you've seen this in the last few weeks, just where they blame Trump. Not only are they calling him Hitler, as in this article that I did for Newsbusters, but I did another one where they were blaming him for the shootings and saying he was getting all these shooters riled up, and it turned out because he had one shooter in El Paso, and then he had one in Dayton, and the one in Dayton was a leftist, just like the Steve Scalise shooter was a leftist, and this is something the media downplays. They're essentially an arm of the Democratic Party.
Well, talk about an arm of the Democratic Party. I'll say the same thing about Antifa or Antifa. Just as the Ku Klux Klan was the military arm of the Democrat Party back in the 1800s, now we have Antifa that's become the military arm of it. And when you look at the tactics that Antifa uses, and even their manner of dress in the black shirts. A lot of people think that the Nazis wore brown shirts, and there were part of the Nazi party that did wear brown shirts. But in the 1930s, when they started, they actually wore black shirts, and they did many of the same tactics that Antifa did. What I mean by that is harassing people, beating up people, and breaking things. But the thing that gets me, Jeff, is when we conservatives call them out, when we call out Antifa, when we call out the Democrat Party, when we call out Barack Obama or Loretta Lynch, saying things that were not quite as nasty as what they say about Donald Trump. Oh, we became the deplorables. We are the racists. We are the homophobes. We are the xenophobes and all the others. Jeff, they can dish it out, but they can't take it. And I'll just use an example that Nasir and I was talking about a little earlier. Andrew Cuomo was confronted by somebody that called him Fredo, referring to the character from The Godfather, and he went ballistic on it. Jeff, they can dish it out, but they can't take it.
No, that's right. I saw that incident with Chris Cuomo over at CNN, and if you watch his show and Don Lemon's show every night, they throw out the ugliest stuff against conservatives, against President Trump. But you just give him like a harmless little nickname like Fredo, which is a reference to The Godfather, and they lose it. So and again, like, where were they? Think about people that have been harassed. I mean, in public. You talk about Antifa. Think about Sarah Huckabee Sanders being thrown out of a restaurant. All these Trump administration and cabinet officials being harassed in public. Mitch McConnell. They protested in front of his house just this past week. It's
protesting
really disturbing.
In front of his house, they were calling for his throat to be cut, and
oh, that's right.
And then wasn't there a movie that was supposed to come out that involved the assassination of the president? And that's all okay. That's all okay, Jeff. But they weren't so happy about it when Barack Obama was in the White House, and we were calling people like Eric Holder, Eric Holder names as far as calling him names and saying that they were using the Justice Department as a weapon, which they really did. They used the Justice
the
Department,
IRS.
they used the IRS, they used the FBI, they used that as weapons, but that was all okay. Hey, Jeff, I wanted to talk for a minute with you about whatever happened to Joe Scarborough. I mean, this guy, wasn't he at one time was a Republican congressman from Florida?
Yes.
Therefore, if he was a Republican congressman, you'd have to think he was to the right of center. Was it his marriage that messed him up, or is it the Stockholm Syndrome, being around all those other lunatic leftists at MSNBC?
No, here's the thing. He wasn't just Republican. He was pretty decent conservative, and I'm telling you, I'll just say it. He sold out. I mean, he went on MSNBC, and part of it is you could see him moving more and more left, and I think he being around all those other liberals at MSNBC, and I think he just basically sold out. And it happens all the time in this town. I'm talking about Washington D.C., where you'll see people that are conservative, and they can see, they can make more money. Nicole Wallace worked for John McCain. Remember that? Steve Schmidt worked for John McCain. They go get nice paying jobs at MSNBC, and all of a sudden they flip. They're no longer Republicans. They're announced a party, and they just start attacking conservatives. And they're mercenaries for hire. Or they're sellouts, whatever. I hate saying that, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff, do you guys at MRC follow the social media sites like Facebook and whatever? And the reason I bring that up now is much of what you have written in this column, or words that you have written in this column, and these are direct quotes, and go to mrc.org, folks, and you'll pick up Jeff's column. You'll see these clips, and these aren't things that Jeff made up. These are direct quotes from MSNBC co-host. Well, Jeff, back in, maybe it was about 2014 or 2015, I believe it was, the first time that I was thrown in Facebook jail. I was thrown in Facebook jail because I used the word Nazi in explaining what the word Nazi means. It meant National Socialist. And just for that, Jeff, I was thrown in Facebook jail. By the way, I'm an absolute repeat offender. And thank God there's not a 3 strikes you're out law, or I'd be dead by now. But these nasty, horrible things that these people on MSNBC say, if you say the same thing on social media, you will find yourself banned. So my question was, you guys follow the social media sites and what they do and put up with, and how they ban and treat conservatives?
Yes, I would. We actually we have a whole project, and my boss Brent Bozell has gone actually into meetings with the heads of Facebook and Twitter, and talked about how there is this deplatforming that's going on with a lot of these conservatives, and also how the searches, Google. How conservative sites and sources don't always come up to the top, but liberal sources do. My colleague Dan Gaynor, I recommend you follow him on Twitter.
Oh, we do.
He has a whole project. I know he's probably been on your show many times. He has a whole project just on this. You're right. There is a censorship going on with these social media sites. There's no question about it. I mean, these Silicon Valley companies, they're based out of the heart of it all, San Francisco, that Bay Area, and they've got those values, and you can see it, being used against conservatives.
Right. Jeff Dickens, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Jeff, please tell our audience how they could follow your work, read your articles, and also help out the Media Research Center in finding out what they're doing.
Best thing is just to go to newsbusters.org. That is the site that is most frequently updated, newsbusters.org. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at GC Dickens, Dickens, at GC Dickens.
Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. Take care, and God bless.
Thank you.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Wright, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be speaking with Seton Motley. Seton is the president of Less Government, and we're going to talk about the left is either confused or projected, or maybe both. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And once again, we want to thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Dr. Nasir Shaikh. And we always like to remind you, for rebroadcast, please check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. You'll find our radio show there, our TV show there, a lot of great articles and a lot of terrific information. And Nasir, our next guest, is with us, and please make him feel welcome.
Thank you, Rick. We have Seton Motley, who is the president of Less Government. It's an organization dedicated to, well, less government. It also they also protect our First Amendment from governmental assault. Seton's a writer, a television, radio commentator, also a policy strategist. He's a lecturer, a debater, and also an activist. Seton, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Well, we want to get to the article that you wrote. The left is either confused or projecting or both. Okay, it's probably both. But before we get to that, give our listening, the people that are listening to us and watching us on TV, what are you folks doing at Less Government?
Yeah, well, we exist to reduce the size, scope, and sphere of influence of government at every level. Every level is completely out of control. I was accused once by Tom Hartman of wanting no government like Somalia, and I said no. The organization's called Less Government, not No Government. Somewhere between, at the federal level, $4 trillion a year, and Somalia. I'd prefer closer to Somalia than $4 trillion. but that, you know, we're not going for, you know, Mad Max hellscape. We're just going for constitutionally prescribed limited government, which would be about $1 trillion in today's dollars, maybe less. Well,
you start out your article talking about the left is really confused. I think I think some on the left, the ones that sort of go along, not the die-hard leftists, but I think what we call, maybe the liberals in there. So I have that distinction that I think liberals you can sort of maybe still talk to, but leftists are the ones that are really, really out there. And you say that, they're confused. And then this psychological projection, which is, and you quote, psychological projection is a defense mechanism which the human ego defends itself against unconscious impulses or qualities by denying their existence in themselves while attributing them to others. I think these folks are consciously know what's going on, and they're absolutely consciously deflecting that and projecting that on. You take everything you are, racism. They're the racists, but they label it on conservatives. About women things, you talk about, I believe they truly are anti-women, which is surprising why these, femi-ISIS-ness are on their side. Then the next thing we talk about, you can go on and on and on, but give us an idea of this projection and give us some other examples that you'd cite.
Well, you said you think it's intentional. I kind of do too. However, I don't like to pretend to read people's minds. That's why I'm opposed to thought crimes. Also, when I try to think like a leftist, my head hurts. So, I went with you. We can definitely diagnose it as projection, whether it's intentional or unconscious. We don't know for sure. And of course, they're doing this. As you said, they're anti-woman. How can you be pro-abortion and anti-woman? And pro-woman. I don't think you can. So many women have an abortion and it haunts them the rest of their lives. I don't see how that's a positive thing for women. I think the people who, wear T-shirts that say I'm proud of my abortion are mentally ill, but that's a separate issue. But yes, they accuse us of being racist. It's almost it's inherently antithetical for conservatives to be racist in the sense that we look at people as individuals, not as members of groups.
Exactly.
It requires collectivist thinking to be racist. You have to look at everybody as this and put them in collectives. We don't do that. We meet a person and we say, okay, you're not Bob the black gay, whatever. You're Bob the guy, and I'm going to get to know Bob the guy and determine whether I like Bob the guy. So the racism is garbage. Plus you look back at the history of this country politically, everything racist was Democrat. I listened in the thing. Of course, the South, which had slaves, was the Democrat Party. After they lost the Civil War, they started the Ku Klux Klan. The Democrats did to prevent Republicans from registering blacks to vote and further engaging blacks in the political process. You had Democrat President Woodrow Wilson screen the racist movie A Birth of a Nation in the White House. You had FDR, the Democrat, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, lock up Japanese American citizens of Japanese heritage during World War II because they were Japanese and therefore they had to be pro-Japan, Japanese Empire. You had the segregationist South that was Democrats one and all from George Wallace on down. And then they tried, after this 100+ years of history, they tried to say, oh, but there was this big flip, and the Republicans became the racists. No, that's not what happened. You guys are still racist because you're still collectivist, because you're still look at people and put them in groups. You still look at the entire world through the prism of race. Conservatives don't do that. Leftists do.
No, you're right. And the big thing that they're on is about diversity of everything, every color, every creed, every religion, except thought. You're absolutely right. Except thought.
And diversity is antithetical to what America is supposed to be. We're supposed to be we're supposed to be a melting pot, not multicultural. We're supposed to all blend in together and become American. You can't do that. Diversity has the same root word as divisive, as divide, as division. It is antithetical to e pluribus unum, which is Latin for out of many one. If you recall, Al Gore screwed it up once. If you remember, he translated e pluribus unum out of one many. Which is, he did. That was a true story. He got it completely backwards because he thinks completely backwards about this country.
Too many Star Trek movies.
Yeah. I think he had his fingers parted between the middle and third finger when he said it.
Well, he also created the internet, and he has made the comment that him and his wife were the model for that movie.
That's right.
Love Story.
A love story.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is why he was getting full release massages from guys. Everything they accuse us of, they're doing, and look at the Russia collusion nonsense. Everyone in Washington, D.C. was colluding with Russia except Donald Trump. Everybody was. The FBI, the CIA, the National Security Director, the President at the time, Barack Obama, everybody in D.C. was colluding with Russia except Trump. Obama, prior to the 2012 election, tell Vladimir that I'll have more flexibility after the election. What the hell does that mean?
Absolutely.
Again, and look, this guy ran on an America First agenda, which is really stealth secret for Russia First. I mean, the first thing Trump did, or one of the first things he did, was undo what Obama did and put the anti-ballistic missile defense system back into Poland. Remember that?
Absolutely.
That certainly pleased the Russians. He slapped them with sanctions left and right. He just again didn't he? Remember when Germany was going to buy their natural gas from the Russian company, and he said that's dumb. Buy it from us. There's very little to nothing at all you can point to besides some verbiage here and there where he wants to try. Look, I think this fake Russia nonsense has been really damaging to this nation and national security because right now China is the problem. Mm-hmm. China is the number one geopolitical foe. We might have had a shot at getting Russia on our side in that squabble. We don't now. This is totally poisoned that well, I think. And that's a real shame. Now, China is our Frankenstein monster. We created it. We've handed them trillions of dollars stupidly in trade over the last half century. And there's got to be some Soviets in their 90s and 80s sitting around Moscow wondering, gee, I wonder what would have happened if they'd given us $10 trillion during the course of the Cold War. So we've created this monster, and now we've got to deal with it. And it would have been nice to be able to have Russia on our side, but because the Democrats decided to play domestic politics with geopolitical strategy, we probably can't do that now, and that's really a shame and dangerous.
I think even your friends in the background are agreeing with you there.
Yeah, the dog is protecting the house from squirrels.
There you go.
Either that or the Comcast repairman is back. Hey, Seton, we have to take a quick break. Could you hold on?
Yes, this is an NPR. You sell ads. Yes.
We try. Anyway. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Dr. Wright, the doctor for the Republic, Dr. Nasir Shaikh. And our guest this segment is Seton Motley, the president of Less Government. And boy, I just love saying that, less government. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more from our guest right after this break.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Dr. Wright, the Doctor for the Republic, Dr. Nasir Shaikh. And if you have a guest suggestion, somebody who you'd like to have us bring on our show to interview, please send an email to me. That's rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com. I know it's long, but it's easy. rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com. Our guest this segment is Seton Motley. Seton is the president of Less Government. Seton, thank you for holding through that break. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Seton, in your article, you say the left is either confused or projected or both. Okay, they're probably both. But let's just not talk about the left, the Democrat Party, the leadership. Let's talk about the voters who support the Democrat Party. And in your article, you point out some really important facts. For instance, the Ku Klux Klan was created by the Democrat Party after the Civil War. You also have in here that Margaret Sanger, the creator of Planned Parenthood, created Planned Parenthood to eradicate blacks.
Yes.
She called them weeds. You have in here, you talk about Antifa, which I now think is the military arm of the Democrat Party, the way the KKK was the military arm of the Democrat Party. But yet, you've got millions of people, roughly 50 to 60 million people, Seton, women, blacks, who continue to support the Democrat Party. Explain that one.
Well, if I could change one policy with a flip of a switch, it would be to end government schools, because that's the problem. All these things we're discussing is addressing symptoms of the problem. The problem is every year the government school system pumps another 10 million or so poison pellets into the system. And we're fighting that, and we're fighting that, and we're fighting. And we hope after the fact, because as people get older, they tend to get more conservative, and we bank on that, and we have to ride out these 20-somethings voting wrong because they've been indoctrinated by government schools. That's the problem. Everything else we're doing is addressing symptoms. We're fighting. The reason we're fighting socialism is because we've been indoctrinated in socialism in the government schools. So To me, that's the root of the problem. Everything else we got to play. Everything else we're playing catch up on. They run the schools. That's more important than anything else. I think Vladimir Lenin said, "You give me a child for 4 years, I'll own him forever," or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. And they've had our children for 50 years now. So do the math.
Well, Seton, throughout my lifetime, the one thing that I have always heard, we need to integrate our people. But it seems like the leftists, the Democrat Party, is hell-bent on separating us. For instance, you point out in your article, today's Democrat Party has the Congressional Black Caucus and Hispanic caucuses. So those are what you are using as separation groups. Could you?
Well, not just that. You have the NAACP. You have La Raza, which is Spanish for the race. You have that. You have those groups. Those are left-wing grievance groups predicated on separation on race. You have separation by gender, sex, nationalization for women. They're the ones. Again, they're collectivists. They look at people as parts of groups, not as individuals. And so they're the ones. They're the separatists. I mean, look, they fought for 10 or 20 years to integrate it in the South, right? And now they're having black fraternities, and women fraternities.
Yeah,
that's okay. That's okay now.
Right. Well, you also have in your article all three. Okay, this goes into another situation I wanted to talk about, but Antifa. Let's talk for a minute about Antifa. When I knew you were coming on today, a question that I had in my mind is, what do we know about this group? What do we know about the leadership? What do we know about the funding? What do we know about the organization of Antifa?
Very, very, very little, because, of course, the media is not interested in looking. I mean, it's amazing how in-depth they went into Tea Party group founders and leaders. When they organized very, very gently, they left their rally points cleaner than they found them. They didn't attack anybody, they didn't hit anybody, and they were called teabaggers, and they were investigated. The IRS screwed them out of their nonprofit statuses and all that. Meanwhile, we've got Antifa running around thumping people's skulls for them. And the media is not interested, and they actually buy the name anti-fascist. Oh, that's fantastic! So I'm going to call myself a center for the NBA. Does that make me a center for the NBA? Don Lemon, the dumbest man on television. Oh, they're called anti-fascists, so that means they're anti-fascists. What are you talking about? You're right. This is their thug wing. This is their gendarmes. This is their SS. This is their KGB. This is their
Ku Klux Klan of the 21st century.
Yep, and of course,
just as they use
every time they get, unlike the other groups we've just named, these guys are kind of wusses. And as soon as they get confronted by anybody. These are. You ever heard the expression "beer muscles"?
Yeah.
You drink a couple beers and you think you're 6'8" and 240. Well, today we have internet muscles, and these people talk a really good game on the online, and then they run into some bikers for Trump, and it's an entirely different story.
Seton Motley, I wanted to change gears a little bit, because you brought up something with Nasir, and I wanted to have you expand a little bit about it. What's your thoughts on what's happening with China and Hong Kong at the present time?
I finally, you know how thoughts formulate in the back of your head and they finally come to the front?
Yeah.
And I wrote a piece about 2 months ago that we should not be doing business with Communist China. I've been saying for years that was Nixon's biggest mistake, was opening the snake pit. The only reason Communist China can flex any muscle anywhere is with money we've given them. And I think, of course, this is terrible. Hong Kong has been a free, sub-state or, whatever quasi-semi-twilight situation they exist in or out of the orbit of China. Mm-hmm. China is trying to exert pressure on them, which they periodically do. God bless the Hong Kong people.
From what I've been able to gather on the internet that there are troops and tanks and things like that.
Oh, there's a big long line. Yeah, there was a video.
Right. Do you foresee another Tiananmen Square taking place?
Well, okay, let me point out just how nauseating the United States can be in its own interest and the interest of the freedom around the world. Tiananmen Square happened in '89. Yep. We then voted to allow China into the WTO in either 1992 or '93. What the hell were we doing? So, yeah, I'm afraid something like that could happen. Did you notice what the Hong Kong protesters were doing and what flag they were holding and what song they were singing?
The U.S. flag.
The U.S. flag, and I think they were singing either the national anthem or God Bless America. I can't remember which. One of the two.
They weren't kneeling.
Which, by the way, half Americans do. So, yeah, I mean, it's an amazing situation. It reminds me a little bit, you remember when we started bombing Iraq and people came out in the streets in Tehran, Iran, holding up signs saying you missed, we're over here?
Right.
It's kind of like that.
Right. Hey, Seton Motley, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on Conservative Commandos Radio Show. However, we're coming up against a hard break, and we wanted to tell you, or ask you, to please tell our viewers and listeners how they could follow your work and the work of Less Government.
Sure, please. Thank you. If you go to lessgovernment.org, you can sign up for our newsletter. You only get contacted when we write something, and unlike Google, we won't sell your data.
All right. Well, we didn't get into the internet. We'll have to do that on another interview. Seton Motley, president of Less Government, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
Thank you very much.
On the other side, we're going to be speaking with Tracy Beanz. Tracy Beanz does something unique and unusual in Washington these days. She's an investigative reporter, and she's going to be joining us to talk about the circumstances around the death of Geoffrey Epstein. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest, Tracy Beanz.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
How does it happen that the most famous among the roughly 200,000 inmates in the federal correction system manages to kill himself, particularly 2 or 3 weeks after he tried before and failed? And after his previous attempt, he was put on 24-hour suicide watch. An inmate was assigned to live with him in his cell, and he was literally under observation 24/7. But then the roommate was removed, the observation was terminated, and he was referred to normal status. Apparently the threat of suicide had passed for some reason. And the suicide came one day after 2,000 documents were released that may well implicate very famous and very important people. There's been speculation, we don't know, that might include former President Clinton, Prince Andrew, and a bunch of other pretty high-profile names. So how was this suicide allowed to happen? Obviously, somebody was paid off. A former inmate in the facility says that it was totally impossible for one inmate alone to commit suicide in that particular cell. For example, there was nothing on the ceiling to attach a belt or a rope to. And clearly, there were payoffs, there were bribery, and it may have reached very high. And we need to investigate this, not simply because it's Jeffrey Epstein, but because it's our Department of Justice. And we can't permit this to become the kind of free-for-all that we'd expect in some Eastern Bloc prison. Thanks for watching.
And once again, we want to thank you for staying with us. We also want to give a shout out to the folks who listen to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C. Also seen on the AUN television network are 7 stations up there. That includes San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, One Country, Silicon Valley, and all those good places. And with that, Nasir, we do have our next guest with us. The honor of the introduction is all yours.
Thanks, Rick. We have Tracy Beanz, who is a real journalist. Not only that, she's an investigative journalist, which is something that journalism has totally lost. She places a strong focus on politics. While she writes for Undercover DC, she has brought the intricate details of several major stories to light, including the corruption between Attorney General Loretta Lynch and Andrew McCabe, and also who threatened the New York office of the FBI during the Clinton email investigation. She's also worked on various political campaigns, including Ron Paul's 2012 run, and also on the campaign for President Donald Trump as well in 2016. She's also an editor at uncoverdc.com. Tracy, welcome back to the Conserve Commandos radio show.
Hi, guys. Really glad to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Well, good. Well, we want to talk to you about basically what's happening. There's so much stuff out there, but how long have you sort of been on the Jeffrey Epstein story and sort of, I listened a little bit to your podcast. What aren't they talking about, Jeffrey Epstein? You sort of mentioned something about where I think is Les Kasman, who was a one-time confidant of the Dapper Don, John Gotti. They were talking about that, he said that there's so many things happening at this prison where John Gotti had to spend some time, the corruption that goes on there. So give our viewers, an idea of how long you've been on this story and, what you've been able to uncover so far, your take.
Sure. I've been following Epstein for actually years and years. Not a new story for most of us out here in journalism world. Lots of connections with very important people, foreign and domestic. And the reason I was speaking about the Gotti right-hand man was actually to kind of point out what a poor job the media is doing of covering this most recent development. I mean, I didn't necessarily realize that when I sat down here with you guys again today after our last meeting that we'd be talking about Epstein posthumously, like after passing away. So, there's a lot of rumors and innuendo being put out there and hearsay. And while he used his name, he talks about how William Barr allegedly visited the MCC after the last incident with Epstein where he was found hurt in his cell. And I was remarking that I found it kind of unbelievable that there was no fact check of that. There was no follow-up. There was no comment from the DOJ or a question even of the DOJ. And I think that that's leading to some of this confusion and speculation that's rampant around this incident.
Well, one of the things here is that, can you tell in the last, let's say, maybe 5 years of any story of any corruption that has occurred where somebody has actually spent time in jail or has actually been punished for the crime, other than perhaps being fired, like Andrew McCabe was fired from the FBI, but they haven't had to face the real music other than being fired? And with all the investigative journalism that's out there, for ordinary people like yourselves, if something like that were to have done on our end that we talk about, where if we were to destroy a phone, or the FBI or the Department of Justice had come into our home and said, you're a part of an investigation, and all of a sudden you started shredding papers, we would be perp walked and handcuffed, and we would. So for normal citizens, there's like a 2-tier system of justice. I can't remember of anything happening to anybody out there that suffers any consequences. Am I wrong?
There is one instance where there have been consequences recently, actually, not from the political spectrum per se, but in the Nixium case. The people who were charged in that case, Rainier, Allison Mack, They went to prison. So, there's a light at the end of the tunnel when a Bronfman connected, basically sex cult, for lack of a better word, is going, they're being prosecuted there. In terms of the political corruption, no, we haven't seen anything like that yet. And a lot of people are starting to get a little tired of waiting around while the two-tier justice system kind of rears its ugly head over and over. Every OIG report that comes out seems to recommend someone be fired or criminally prosecuted, and there's a declination by the DOJ to do so. Most recently, as reported by John Solomon in the case of James Comey. So I understand what you're saying, and I share your frustration.
And, we talk about it and I sometimes, we ask the question, nothing really is happening to us, and we wonder about the frustration that it's causing us. But I can't even imagine the frustration like for Roger Stone. Frustration is not even the right word. Yeah. Nightmare to Roger Stone, to Manafort, also to, how can I forget, General Flynn. Yeah. These people have been, decimated. Their lives have been turned upside down, and for process crimes, literally, that, wouldn't have, and then, 27 armed men, going to the door of a 70-year-old who comes to the door in his pajamas or whatever, and perp walked out. So these are the kind of things. You also talk a little bit, too, you mentioned in your podcast, where the New York Post, what follow-up questions did they do? They didn't even ask the Attorney General if he had, ask, from the DOJ, just a comment? No. Did Attorney General, was he there? People throw these things out all the time, but at least a journalist's job should be, or the New York Post, somebody should have said, let's contact them and get a comment, whether it's true or not. We need to hear something. Why do you think they dropped the ball on that?
It's fun. It struck me really, really strongly, actually, because in the same article, they get comment on why the jail is not, where they ask for comment on why the prison is not spraying for rodent problems.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, okay, well, it's important, but it's not so important. The New York Post has gotten this story from the very beginning. They've been on top of the story. I think they were the first outlet to report that he passed away. Their photographer, their freelance photographer, was the first one to get a picture of Epstein being brought into the hospital. And they've done good work in the past. So it's kind of like striking to me the difference in what they're printing. They also printed a story from a former inmate who wanted to maintain their anonymity, who said that there's no way that there could have been a suicide in a cell there because of what they're given, and the fact that they give them these special green navy green jumpsuits. And I sat there and I said to myself, hold on a second. He said they're issued green, but in the photos, Epstein's wearing orange. And maybe that's a special designation. Let me look into that and see what that's all about. And if we have time, I'll explain that. But why am I, obviously I'm a journalist. That's what I do. But I shouldn't have to fact check another outlet's work. This is what happened to journalism in this country. It's very, very sad. It really is.
Well, the other thing, too, is, and here's what we have to understand. This man, in his head, and hopefully elsewhere in papers or whatever, but definitely in his head, he was scaring a lot of powerful people around, New York City, around the world. They were talking, this was reaching into even the British Parliament, naming, I think the Prince Andrew. So there are some very, very powerful forces. And the thing that really astonishes me, is the fact that this is sort of what you see on the TV shows, right? The whole scenario. How many times have we seen this play out over and over and over again, where somehow someone mysteriously, dies in prison? And it's almost as if, people took and said, let's watch a few stories out there and see what we can do, know what the pitfalls are, and then let's go ahead and do this. And somebody ordered the kill. That's obviously a plausible story out there, that somebody wanted him to be silenced and not mention any names. But where do you think this goes, from now, as far as, his victims? Is there so compensation going to be for them, and whatever they had to endure in terms of, anything from whatever's left over from his estate? What's happening in that regard? Are they still pursuing this case?
Yes. They are. They're pursuing the case both civilly, the victims, and the DOJ is still pursuing the case. There was a conspiracy charge on his indictment. You cannot charge conspiracy to only one person. So I think that they were still rolling up what, they had to, gathering evidence, running down leads. We're still seeing arrests coming in from Operation Mad Hatter in Arkansas. That was a drug raid, but you start an investigation like that and the wheels get going. If you're doing it correctly, you're gonna grab others. And I think that Maxwell should be watching over her shoulder. I'm sure she is. And there are other members of the Epstein circle that should really be careful. And then who knows where it goes from there.
Yeah. Here on the Conservative Commandos radio show, our guest is investigative journalist Tracy Beanz. Her website is Uncover DC. Hey, Tracy, we have to take a quick break. Could you hold on for us for just a few moments for us, please?
With pleasure.
And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Wright, the doctor for the Republic, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more with our guest right after this.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. My co-host today is Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and I'm Rick Trader, and our guest this segment is Tracy Beanz. She's an investigative journalist, and her website is Uncover DC. Tracy, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Well, we are discussing Geoffrey Epstein and his recent death. Tracy, did he do us a favor by committing suicide? I mean, we could run down. He saved us a whole lot of money because we don't have to drag him to trial, and if convicted, we don't have to house him the rest of his life. We don't have to put up. There is not going to be anybody hurt by this man. Anymore. No one's going to be hurt. But did we lose a lot by what we could have found out through him, or maybe not? What's your thoughts? Did he do us a favor?
My opinion on that is likely I'm indifferent on it, to be honest. While, a lot of people would rather see somebody serve justice for a crime like that or crimes like he's committed, and I can say that because he was, held accountable in Florida. So I don't think he did anyone a favor per se. I understand your logic. It makes sense to me. I think people wanted to see what else they could. Maybe they farmed him for all the information they could possibly get. We don't know.
Right.
But the victims probably wanted to see him face justice.
Okay. Let's talk about the Jeffrey Epstein we didn't know about. He taught physics and math at Manhattan's elite Dalton School right out of college. Do you, in your investigation, have you found out or heard anything that his abuse of young women may have gone back as far as when he was teaching?
No. Nope.
Okay.
No, there was nothing there. I really feel like, given everything, that this was something that you see something in somebody, right? When you want to bring somebody on board to corrupt, to blackmail, to enthrall people. And he might have just been compromised himself at one point and realized he could get away with it, and then that was it. But no, there's nothing from the time. There's nothing from I think right around Bear Stearns till like immediately after, when he started doing his own thing and managing all those huge portfolios. Yeah.
Well, he did make his firm only accepted clients with $1 billion or more in assets. I mean, $1 billion or more in assets. Have you been able to find out some of his clients, who they may have been?
One the most controversial, I think, so far, and the most vocal has been Wexner, who was supposedly a friend, signed over that New York property to him, but is now actually providing information to the government showing how Epstein may have been swindling him. And I think that the reason why it went quiet for so long is you have to think, what does he have on this guy? How many billionaires are there in the world?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't know. I don't think there are a lot. I mean,
I
don't
many.
think they grow on trees, that's for sure.
No, so you've got to think it's a very small elite club, and these people all have lots and lots and lots of power. So for the man who runs the Limited and Victoria's Secret and, all these other massive companies to basically hand over planes, full power of attorney, it's pretty outside the box. It's very interesting. And now that he's passed away, I can nearly guarantee that we'll have access to financials that we wouldn't likely have had before. So there's another thing towards your point earlier. But that's probably the one that I'd think of that's other than Bill Clinton.
Right.
But, yeah.
Epstein also gained public recognition through his Jeffrey Epstein IV Foundation. Made a lot of donations, including a $30 million donation to Harvard University. Could you tell us anything about the foundation? And by the way, has Harvard or any other institution that he has donated money to offered to return that money?
No, and believe it or not, I can't tell you about the foundation. I'm not schooled enough on it to talk intelligently to you. You probably know more than I do about the foundation at this point. What I did start doing, though, was poking through the Panama Papers. I don't know if you guys have ever spent any time digging through that web, but there's a lot there, and it's basically like you're becoming a forensic accountant. So it is in-depth work, and it does take a lot of time. And
Explain the Panama Papers, if you will, to us.
It's basically a bunch of financial information, and it's a mind map. You can put in anybody's name. It'll pull up companies they're connected to, what countries they're in. Basically, if you put a couple names in there, you can see their connections financially. And not everything's nefarious in there, but billionaires and foundations. And, that's a really good way to hide money in a foundation or in a trust or in a not-for-profit. Like Maxwell's not-for-profit shut down a few days after Epstein was arrested. And if you take a look at the 990 forms, there's a lot you can glean from them, who was the executive director, who the treasurers were. So that sort of work is something I take a lot longer with than we've had in the span of this story. So I'm sorry I can't answer that question.
That's okay. Epstein became a collector, that word in quotes, a collector of famous and powerful friends. He became well known for traveling along with President Bill Clinton and people like actor Kevin Spacey, who's had his own problems because of sexual scandals. Who had the most to gain from the death of Jeffrey?
To believe it or not, I don't think anybody gained anything. And the reason for that is that there was access to places that there was never access to before by a team of prosecutors who don't appear to have been the same as they were down in Palm Beach, where Jeffrey Epstein had them all in his pocket. I don't know that the death of Jeffrey Epstein stops anything that was happening. And if anything, it opens things up more clearly. Lawyers don't really necessarily have to fight for a dead guy to shield, information from their reach. So probably the opposite, to be honest. I think that there was more likely a chance people wanted him to stay alive, at least certain people. That complicates things, but...
There's a lot of internet rumors going around out there about the Clinton Association, or the association he had with the Clintons. They want to make the connection between all the other Clinton deaths and now Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think there's anything behind that?
It's so obvious, right? I mean, that's the first thing everybody thought of is it's the Clintons. And, who knows what happened to him at this point? There's not any solid information we're getting. Does it make sense? So far, there's enough compelling evidence to think that obviously the Clintons were involved somehow with this. And I think that that's going to come out regardless. Hopefully it doesn't turn into another, if it was them, another Vince Foster situation. We'd like to see the truth come out for once. And it appears to me that Attorney General Barr is really frustrated. He demoted the warden and suspended the two officers that were on duty watching over Epstein. There's an IG investigation going on right now into it. I roll my eyes a little bit because that's administrative. And so let's see what happens there. But the Clintons are obviously tied to Epstein. It's something they worked. Actually, the lawsuit that was filed against President Trump with Jeffrey Epstein by a Jane Doe plaintiff right before the election was an attempt, I believe, a political attempt to tie Trump to Epstein because there was so much of a focus on Clinton and Epstein. So they had a Jane Doe, plaintiff come forward and charge Trump and Epstein in the same civil suit. It was dismissed with prejudice. So
Tracy, what do you know? What do you know about the connection between Trump and Epstein?
I began reading the documents that were released the Friday before his death. And it was 2,000 pages from that case. It was Virginia Roberts versus Maxwell. And it was a civil case in New York. And basically the only reason why Donald Trump is being brought up here is because he owned Mar-a-Lago. And Virginia Roberts' father worked at Mar-a-Lago. And Virginia Roberts had a really hard time holding down a job. She was pretty troubled as a youth. And her father said, can she have a job here? She can be a spa attendant. Let's try and keep her in a job for the summer. And she said yes, and they said yes. And she started working there. And then as per depositions under oath, Maxwell approached her while she was working at Mar-a-Lago, asked her if she wanted to come and train to work as a masseuse. And they'd pay her handsomely. Asked her father it was okay. Her father said yes. And she left Mar-a-Lago. That's it.
All right.
That's it. So.
Tracy Beanz, investigative reporter, Undercover DC. Talk about things being released. Talk about things coming out. When's the movie? When's the book coming out? And this screenplay going to have the name Tracy Beanz on it?
No. We don't need to write fiction. This can all be nonfiction, like Doctor said. It's. I hope there's no book yet. I don't want to read a book about this yet. When somebody writes a book about, but maybe 10 years from now, when someone writes a book about something, it kind of means that it's over.
Or they want to make money while it's hot.
Yeah, but what kind of a...
Tracy
right,
Beanz,
yeah.
you know so much, and I've listened to your podcast. In a minute or so we have left, what question haven't I asked that you want to tell our audience about Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm going to take half the time thinking. I'll ask it quick. What question that you... in reading through all these depositions, the one thing that kind of struck me more than anything was that Maxwell and these women, they're very loyal to him still. All these women in his periphery, they're still very loyal. She denied everything. in the deposition of her, she denied everything. She denied ever knowing Virginia Roberts. She denied walking up to her at Mar-a-Lago. She denied it all. She was arrogant and she was, snotty and she was entitled. And the thing that
who's
found
Maxwell for our audience who doesn't know who that is?
Allegedly the woman who procured the girls for Epstein and was given immunity in the 2008 case in Palm Beach. But she's like the right-hand woman. And she was asked directly about what Jeffrey Epstein was doing with young girls in his house. And her answer was really telling. After defiantly proclaiming her innocence, not knowing anything, she said, "I can't speak to what Epstein does when I'm not there."
Well, all right. Tracy Beanz, investigative journalist, editor at Undercover DC. Tracy, please tell our audience how they could follow your work, listen to your podcast, and keep track of what you're doing.
Thanks so much. You can find me on uncoverdc.com as well as on Twitter at Tracy Beanz with the Z. And my podcast is the Dark to Light podcast, which is 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 2:30 on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and on radioinfluence.com.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God
Thanks
bless.
for having me. Thanks.
And this is
Take
the
care,
Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Nasir Shaikh and yours truly, Rick Trader. Don't go away. We'll be back with more right after this break.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Well, Nasir, that just about wraps it up for today. I want to thank you for sitting in today as my co-host. Please tell our audience where they could follow you when you're not here with me on Conservative Commandos.
Thanks, Rick. Well, they can follow me at my Twitter account, which is at Nasir Shaikh Show. That's at Nasir Shaikh Show. Or on Facebook at The Nasir Shaikh Show. That's The Nasir Shaikh Show. And absolutely. And we want to thank our guests that we had. Our first guest was Jeff Dickens, who's the Deputy Research Director for Media Research Center, and he was talking to us about his article about how all of the media outlets out there, they can't stop, they won't stop. They're comparing Trump to Hitler. We also had Mr. Seton Motley, who's the president of Less Government, and he was talking to us about his article, The Left is Either Confused or Projecting or Both. And you know what? It's probably both. And finally, we had investigative journalist Tracy Beanz, that's Beanz with a Z, who places a strong focus on politics. She's also with Undercover DC, and she was giving us her insight because she's been following the story since the beginning for a long, long time about the Jeffrey Epstein saga, and basically leads us on that intricate web of how it all started and where it's going. So we had three great guests on once again, Rick.
Absolutely. But for right now, we are out of time. We got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.